We're gonna have Mary tonight, or
Yeah, she's coming.
no sense in rushing?
Yeah. Whoop. Nope. 30. She have to go to the council meeting.
Oh, no.
Do you have any relatives in Enumclaw? Ellie in the city?
Close to Enumclaw, but not out there where our
Family there.
Country Scouts do.
They had a ball.
They get rid of that medal.
We had 71 volunteers and we got 230 hours put in there on that day. So it was a
That's
busy
serious.
day. So got a lot done. And the Cubbies just love it, you know.
Yeah.
Put the reflectors on them. They picked up 5 giant bags of garbage along Phillips Road. It's remarkable how much builds up there.
Yeah.
4 months.
Yeah.
Tons of stuff.
And that's stuff back. But
It does, you know, a lot of it blows out of pickup trucks.
yeah.
A lot of it's less than malicious, but not
Right,
taking
right.
care of it.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
when they throw it in the back.
It's like the highways. The highways
Yeah.
are just unreal.
It is remarkable. And you go to, you know, third world countries and it's just solid garbage along the highways,
Mhm.
other places, so.
But if you go to Germany,
Yeah.
you'll see nothing
Yeah.
on the roads. It is well
Yeah.
maintained. It's a philosophy.
Yeah.
I mean, people ride buses and they don't think anything about throwing their garbage on the bus. And I'm thinking, you pay to ride the bus. Maybe
Yeah.
you don't pay, but
Yeah.
you're on the bus and it's for everybody. And who's gonna pick up your trash at home?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You do not want to see their home probably. Yeah.
It's probably true.
We start without Mary?
No, she should be on her way.
We're anxious to start.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I got a
Did
ball
council
game to
move?
go to, too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
council's
so-
always on
always
Tuesday on a
in.
holiday. Yeah,
Yeah.
if there's a holiday Monday. Yeah. Send her a text, but maybe I'll call her desk.
Probably feels like Monday.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it does.
Okay, it's fine. She's coming. She's coming.
That's good. It's good to put a little fire under it.
Yeah, we were at the
Need a fire.
No, she's already
She
on
is
fire.
a fire.
WRPA conference last week, so
Getting out of the office and then coming back.
Yeah.
It's always,
yeah,
sometimes it doesn't pay to be out of the office.
Yeah, that's what
yeah. Well, this is a busy time of year.
Yeah.
And of course, our CO grants, you know, so that's crazy. All of that, and that's what she's working on for tomorrow. She has her presentation tomorrow. So,
Oh, chief.
yeah,
I can
so,
see
yeah, it's been, yeah, a lot of us have been working like crazy.
No.
There she is.
Sure.
We
Sorry
are.
about that, you know, city manager comes in your office 5 minutes before you're supposed to be somewhere, like, I really need to jump.
Okay, welcome back.
Sit over here, all you fine folks.
All right, 5:35, we'll call the meeting to order. You hear from anybody?
I have not heard from
Okay.
anybody, although it could be buried in my email.
Right.
Here we go.
With that, Nikki included the minutes in our packet. I would entertain a motion if anyone has.
So move.
I will second. First. Vito with a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Hearing none, unanimous approval streak continues. No public for public comment. And we roll into new business and a Parks Appreciation Day update.
Okay, well, like Alan said, we did have his project that we're including. They had 19 workers. For some reason, my calculations had 112 hours, but it's 230, you said?
230 was our total hours. I have to report that to the state, so that.
And 71 people, right?
71 people.
Oh, 71. Okay. I don't know where I
Good
got
We
those
had
numbers
39
from.
students from Clover Park.
Wow, that's
That
awesome.
was good.
And they removed 8,000 pounds of scrap metal, old washers and trash from the South Prairie area and planted indigenous grasses and flowers in the cleared area. So awesome. So for the parks, the rest of the parks, we had over 225 volunteers this year. 675 hours. Projects were a little bit smaller. Mostly play chips. Play chips are a never ending job. West Pierce Fire and Rescue didn't come this year, so mostly trash and play chips is our big things. They did plant 4 trees over at the Springbrook Garden, so that was nice. And then collected lots of trash.
Did you get Christ Lutheran groups at some of the sites?
Yeah, they came to Fort Stolikum
Yeah.
and they were working at the
We had a
Grave
set of
Concerns.
6 or 8 of them show up at ours, just because it happened to be the day that they're, whatever they call it, make a difference
Day of
day.
service.
Yeah,
Yeah, day of
yeah,
service.
Day of Caring or something,
Yeah.
yeah. And they also installed 40 headstones at the historic Fort Stolikum Park Cemetery.
That's great.
So, but I did want to show you guys some pictures, so that's why I
Yeah.
pulled up Facebook. This is over at Springbrook Park. That's over at Fort Stolikum. Lots of chips this year. Lots of chips. There's our Springbrook Garden. Right. And Janet and the crew that she had over at American Way Park. Fort Stolikum, lots of chips.
Yeah.
Lots of chips. I just don't think I've ever shared the pictures with you guys.
No, I like it.
They're great.
Yeah.
They're really, really good. I looks like Jenny Hitchens too.
Who did
Yep.
the kids fishing day pictures? Because they
Uh,
posted like 60 of them. It was great fun to look through.
Yeah, so we did hire our photographer Larry that
Yeah.
comes and takes them, and then also Derek took some, so
We
yeah.
all forget until like the last, and then we have the same 350 pictures of the same like kid along the shoreline. So
Yeah.
it's nice to have someone thinking
It's
about
good, yeah.
taking pictures.
Yeah,
when we're
great.
not running around.
Yeah, and the fishing event was a great turnout. All of our pre-registration filled up, and then we had a lot of day of registrations, so yeah, it's good.
Great.
All right,
Cool.
that is it.
Does anybody have any feedback? Did you already ask that? Like any thoughts about Park Appreciation Day, comments? Sadness and solo. All by himself out there. It was a busy day, of course.
Yeah, Fort Stolikum was busy and going, and yeah, it was a good turnout. A lot of people seemed to me wanted to do Grave Concerns.
Yeah.
It seemed like what people gravitated to a lot, that or the chips. So,
Yeah,
cool.
Edgewater. 3 of us,
Yeah.
Oh,
the mayor
yeah.
and one of the council members. And then, of course, I forget the young man's name. Very helpful.
Even,
Eden.
Yeah.
Very
even.
even.
Eden, yeah.
Yeah, we have good staff. Yeah, but not all those people that were complaining about making change, nobody came out to make change, so.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, Shelley and I were having
Committed.
that conversation at the ballpark opening.
Those are the category, you know what you should do, people.
How was the ballpark?
The grand opening was spectacular. It was
I saw
really
pictures.
neat. The weather was a little ickier than we would have wanted, but hey, that's Pacific Northwest and
Yeah.
you deal with it anyway. But no, it was a good crowd. And got my picture with the mascot. I mean, that's pretty cool, right? Yeah.
Yes.
One of these.
Yeah, it's exciting.
Got another one?
So, I'm sorry, yeah, we got plenty. These printed, the report given, so I'm just gonna run through it about this. I will have to say the ball field, so many people came up to me and were so excited about it. So had so much fun at the event. We had all the Lakewood Baseball Club kids there. They got to play that day on the field. They were just super excited, and they also got to run the bases, so that was fun. I thought it just turned out great.
Everyone there was, it felt good because in us approving the site and choosing site one, I was always worried that gonna be like an affront to the park and, kind of monopolize it,
It
but
looks so nice.
it looks nice, it fits in, and the community received it really well, so I couldn't be happier with the
Yeah.
turnout.
There was a guy, I'm trying to think, which event was I at? There's been so many recently at the. Maybe it was the American Lake Neighborhood Association. I went there last month to talk about American Lake, and there was a guy there that was just so excited. He goes, "I've been to 3 baseball games." He's just
That's
been
great.
enjoying that, so.
Doesn't.
Yeah,
One going there right now.
yeah. So let's get talking. Is that what you're saying? Let's get
Exactly.
going. I
Let's
got
keep
it.
it moving.
Okay.
All right, we got a pretty robust GIP update here.
Yeah, so Nikki, did you load that PowerPoint for me? Friend? It should be right, the last one on there. On that little drive. It would have, I don't know. I mean, I didn't think there were that many on there. But there could be, just if you hit date, it's the last one that was on there. Yep, there you go. So, as she pulls that up, and I apologize, I had a nice little report for you and I can send that out to you. It's just the copier, I think, didn't like the number of pages or something, so it didn't answer, but we'll just give you a park CIP update. We were gonna do this in another couple months and I thought, well, why don't we just do it now since we really weren't ready to talk about signs yet. And that was what was on our agenda, besides getting ready for council, so we'll do that. But anyway, I just wanted to walk you through this, and I kind of did this a couple of months ago, just in a pretty good summary, but I just wanted to do a little bit more comprehensive. So this is a map that we presented to council as we were getting ready for the next, so we do a 2-year biennial budget. So we are in the second year of a 2-year budget, and then next year we'll be doing a 25-26 budget. So because even though it's a 2-year budget, you still review it, make changes for the second year, and have it be, approved by council. But it's just a good planning tool to have a 2-year, vision. So we prepared this for council just to show them all the different projects that we're going to be working on. And as you can see, we got a lot going on. We did a little summary. I did a little summary. And we, at the time, we were at about $30 million worth of projects in this little period of time. And that does not include Edgewater design, Edgewater development. It doesn't include the H Barn or the downtown park, which is what council is kind of talking about, have been talking about. But then we'd forgotten something. So we're really at about $32 million. And that is a tremendous amount of infrastructure changes for the last few years. It's all funded. It's a lot of grants and a little bit of ARPA money and some city money, but we're really good at trying to get somebody to match somebody so that it's, the minimal impact to general fund. Because that's what, pays for our operations. So anyway, I think we do a really good job with that. So what I'm going to do is just sort of walk through this presentation. And I'm happy to forward this report once, electronically. And Ryan, I'm sorry that he can see it. So, right, Ryan's there. Okay. So Nikki, you want to just push when I tell you to push then? Okay. So again, I'm going to have you want to tend to me. That way I can move things around. Thanks. So, healthy and vibrant community. That's our mission and vision and goal. That's what we do. Oh, just a little lights on there. Okay. And we really think about that with all of the everything that we do is it going to make us physically healthy, economically healthy, culturally healthy, environmentally healthy. We really want to make sure that we're looking at all sides of what we do so that we can stay focused on the work that we do. So here's what's happening in the parks, as you can see, and this is more for the new folks, if you haven't, seen this, is that those are green dots, blue represents lakes, but pretty much we try, and the little boxes are naming a park. We try and have a park or open space within about 10 to 14 minutes of walking from every resident. That could be a half-mile radius, 3/4 mile radius. We did a survey when we did our legacy plan, and people said they'd be willing and able to do about a 14-minute walk. And so so we really try to do that with beyond every resident. There's only really one area that we're a little bit hiccupy in, and that's over in the Woodbrook area, which, oh, look, you can see my little thing. This is the Woodbrook area, only because it's gone so industrial. School district that used to provide some outdoor space isn't there anymore. And so that's the one area, but there's really not, I think there's some residential stuff way back here. So it's, it's not, we have to really assess when we kind of get going on that next legacy plan, how we might address that or support that. But that's the one area we're kind of deficient in. Before, the other place was around Gravelly Lake, but as you know, with the big sidewalk around there, it's kind of like a linear park. There's great walking and running, and you see people out there all the time. So from a infrastructure perspective, we've been providing a resource there. It's not just shoulder anymore. So that's kind of showing you what our goal is of what's happening. So just when we talk about some things that have recently completed, Springbrook Park expansion, this is an area that we worked really hard on. Again, got a lot of grants, had a lot of community support to develop it. We, besides redoing the community garden and moving it to a more centrally located, right on the corner, we did a bunch of restoration along the shoreline, Clover Creek. You can see that we got rid of tons of vegetation and debris and did a lot of plantings. We've created a new dog park. We have a full basketball court. And then back here, you can see our pump track. That was from the Easter egg hunt. So, it's a multi-purpose facility, but it's really well used, and the garden's getting going now. We had a good turnout on Park Appreciation Day, and it's just such a great neighborhood group. I love working in this neighborhood. The community is so engaged and so successful. And just as an example, Pierce County environmental planning, they want to do some kind of a hot so climate change, heat source mapping, that stuff. And they're like, could we use Springbrook Park as a staging area? And we're like, of course, what do you need to do? And it's like, well, there's a day, and they do like a morning, noon, and evening kind of assessment. I don't really know what they're doing because I didn't go to the meeting. But so I forwarded it, and I said, well, Nikki's going to reserve the shelter in the area once you guys decide on your dates, but I'll copy Springbrook Connections, and they'll get back to you regarding, if there's any conflicts or how they might help. 2 seconds later, Jesse's like, oh, we'll totally host the event. I want to volunteer on this day. Let me know what to do. That's just the way they work. They're so good to work with. The next thing that was on our list of things to do that recently got completed was the Fort Silicon Park boundary line adjustment. I think we talked about this at a previous meeting, but there's some misconceptions as to what Pierce College owns and what the city owns. So you can see now it's cleaned up a bit. The main boundary line adjustment was just right here. Can you see me? Okay, good. The main boundary line adjustment was just taking this property, this piece right here, and cutting it away from the lake. The college didn't want any responsibility for Wahop Lake and any of the things that happened in Wahop Lake. And because we had made the improvements around the lake, we wanted to make sure there's a good buffer, right? So that we had management control of that area. But all this property up here to Lake, which is kind of the burned area from the fire, as well as this is Lake Louise area. And all of this, including this frontage, is all Pierce College property. But now we've outlined that. The idea is to do some kind of a operational agreement with them. We've sort of informally had different operational agreements. We've done different things, but when we do events, special events and stuff, people do cross here. People do come up. As you can see, we have one water tower here. They have a water tower. There's a whole nother can of worms with the Western State, but people are up here doing stuff. So we kind of want to have an operational agreement. Also, when stuff happens here, they're really adamant about this being their land. They got to take care of it, right? And we just met with the fire department on some wildfire prevention techniques. And so it's like we are out there doing the things they kept saying, oh, this part of the park's great. You got a lot of stuff to do over here. And we're like, well, we don't have a lot of stuff to do over there. Pierce College does. They were part of the conversation. So they're recognizing their role and their responsibility because they just haven't done anything. So
Is Waha managed by the state though? Because
No.
it is,
It's
it's part of
less-
the park?
it's part of the park. It's not a designated lake
Waterway.
of the thing because I think you have to be over 25 acres. We're
Okay.
just about between 25 and 30. So
Gotcha.
I mean, technically, it's the state's responsibility from they included it, but no, it's not considered a water body. of the
Body,
state.
okay.
So, and just to clarify what you're saying, Jason, for anybody that's new, you might not know this, is that all lakes and water bodies in the state of Washington are managed by the state of Washington if they're over 25 acres. So Ward's Lake isn't considered that either.
Right.
But American Lake, Growly Lake, and so people might think, oh, it's our lake, but it is up to the water, mean high water mark, and then the lake itself is managed. So if you wanted to do something like we have a water improvement district on American Lake, they have a improvement district for Lake Stilichum as well. You have to go all that stuff through the lake or through the state. That. Ball fields, we talked a little bit about that. We finished the main field and we did the extra fields. It was such a fun day. We had our dedication, all the kids came and played, and it's been really, really fun to see that. And people are excited about it. It just looks beautiful. It's a really beautiful facility. Pierce College definitely made a giant investment into this facility, and but the city's already benefiting from it. Without really even doing anything for Pierce College, we've already booked almost $50,000 in revenue.
Awesome.
And we didn't change any of the fees for Lakewood Baseball Club. They pay $50 a game. We haven't changed that at all, which is like so
Wow.
cheap for them because they're our local kids. But then there's other leagues and people that are coming and get to pay the full rate.
They're
So,
nice fields. You know, they're really safe for the kids too.
Yeah, good.
Out of curiosity, so a lot of effort and time, money put into the baseball. Was there, unless I missed something, was there any work done with softball?
We don't have softball fields. We only have baseball fields, although we can use our fields for softball because we have portable mounds. But are you talking about for Pierce College?
Here's college.
So Pierce College, women's softball plays in Puyallup. And so they talked about enhancing the fields there, but now that we have this beautiful space here, they've actually said, hey, now, because it costs a lot of money, right? Maybe we could take a look at modifying this field to be the girls softball field for Pierce College. They brought it up. They haven't officially approached council. But the good thing about that is that you have this batting cage, you've got storage and offices, and it's connected, so to speak, from a complex. So because they do have a responsibility through Title IX to do improvements for the girls that they do for the boys or men and women. So, yeah, so they're really thinking about that now. Because right now, Pierce College used to be at Mount Tahoma, at Heritage, and then recently they were reserving or renting fields in Puyallup. Because Pierce College does have a Puyallup campus.
True.
So they don't have to necessarily do it here to meet the criteria. But now that they've invested these resources, they're gonna need to do something
you.
for the girls. Yeah.
Is there a special turf maintenance crew?
They're just our regular parks crew. They've just been trained to,
Okay.
to do turf. There's special equipment. Like you would drag a regular field instead
Right.
you sort of vacuum these fields and you move the material around a little bit. So,
Okay,
yeah, but we don't have any additional staffing for this.
But that is a misnomer that you don't have to maintain
Right.
artificial turf
Yeah.
fields, but you absolutely do if
You
you want them
do.
to last.
Yeah, for sure. And we have new rules and things for people to follow. So,
So what are the plans on the off season with those? Are you gonna leave them gated and locked or open to the public?
well, they're all open
Not the
anyway.
Pierce one.
Oh, yeah. We've talked about putting some additional fencing, not around the fields, but around, because people can still drop in if they're following the rules. It's, but we don't want some ding dong coming in, when it snows to start doing their wheelies like they do. And, or some ding dong in the middle of the night whipping through there, because that really can
Yeah.
cause some damage. So mostly like, barrier fencing, just because it's all wide open. except for the main field.
So
So,
4th of July will melt the fields
oh, yeah,
from
yeah, yeah.
experience.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
Oh,
really?
fireworks. you
Yeah,
mean?
yeah, people will legally come
Yeah.
out there and set off their fireworks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so we don't, yeah, you don't allow it in the fields, but hopefully people will be respectful and we have a lot going on, so I hope not. I mean, they do it over by the dog park, they do it by the prairie. We haven't had too much trouble in this area, so, but good point. Tensor Log, that is a project that, is in process, as you all know, it's the big log from the library. It's gonna be moved, in a couple of weeks, and we'll get it to the field. The work, like for the center, the base has been, started. We've been out to the park, the location is there, we have sort of a part in our progress. The location for the base is there, and then once they move it, there's a whole complicated thing about them pouring it in place. Then they have to protect it with fencing, and then we get the shelter, but you can't order the material for the shelter till the shelter's in place because they do these panels and it's gotta be really the right measurements, so it's a whole work in progress, so that's where we're at with that, but it's about a $250,000 project.
Yeah.
It's moving forward. Yeah, I think the city manager said, I think I might not have understood what the full capacity. I said it's 10 tons. It's a 10-ton log. So we're doing our best and we're.
It is part of our history, though. People are really thrilled to know it's going
Yeah,
on. out
it's,
there.
I mean, it's really gonna be a cool thing when it's out
Yeah.
there, and it'd be nice if you could just put it out there and people could stand by it and touch it, cause it's super cool, but you just can't, cause people will destroy it, so. But anyway, so it's cool, and it's a good segue because it is gonna be a part of our Nisqually Loop Trail, which is a mile-long trail that we have, this is the route, you can see the route, you wanna grab that, Jordan? They're vacuuming. It's the vacuuming. It's a cultural loop trail that we're working on, slow and steady, making progress. They just had a new, right, but we're making great progress, and then they had a council election 2 years ago, and so then we've made tons of progress, and now they just had another election, so it's all a little crazy when that happens. So we're kind of trying to keep it moving forward. But the Tensor log will be right here along the trail, which is item 8. And we're going to be including Indigenous history with it because it's got significant history. So that's going to be exciting to see how we move from beyond, current day history to really looking big picture at the universe during that time. So we'll be talking about the log, talking about the history there. So that's kind of fun. But just to show you the exhibits, so we have our the welcome kiosk here, which is by the I don't think I did the whole thing yet. No, I didn't. Yeah, so this is the restroom right now that is the plaza. It's sort of right in the center of the community. So this is the welcome kiosk, we're calling it. This will have like a traditional land map of the Nisqually people and their area. And then the next one will be, and I've kind of gone through this, but the next one will be an exhibit talking about the woolly dog, which is really important to their history. They used the fur for textiles, and they really protected these dogs because of the special nature of their fur. And then they wove it into yarn and they made textiles and things from it. So we thought that'd be really cool to put by the dog park because that would be of great interest to people that like dogs. Then you get down here, and this is a big old camas patch, which is really a significant flower for the Nisqually people. They still use it for celebration, and they used it for food. It's a food source.
So is Camus going there now?
Yeah, tons of camas, and you only really see it when it's in bloom.
Right.
And then, so we're to show, how do you show that camas is here when there isn't camas in bloom? And then just talk about here, you'll have sort of a good view of this whole prairie area. And so that's cool. And then you get down here to this bottom section, and we'll be focusing, here's another welcome kiosk. This is sort of the back door. This will be really talking probably more about Chief Leschi, his legacy, and what's going on in this corner. And then here, it's not going to actually split like that anymore because it just got to be a little bit too complicated. If you look back here, you can see how it's just a straight line now. But this will be talking about the prairie and native plants that are important, that are found along this way here. And then this connects you to 7. which is along, right by Walhop Lake. And the idea here is that focusing on the current resiliency of the people, and like the canoe journey is a really important element that all of the indigenous tribes across the strait participate in now. We didn't know at the time, but it's really it's a current event and activity, current within the last 10, 15 years. And all the tribes came together because they were like, how can we teach our culture and our stories, but also deal with a lot of the drug addiction and alcoholism and things that were, we took people's land, and that's kind of one of the outcomes, the trauma that has happened. So they created this canoe journey, which is really a cool thing. They start in one area and they go all along the coast, all the way from like far away to Canada. And so they stop in and different tribes host them. They have powwows and music, and they talk, and the elders are there and the young people are there. It's really a cool event. So we're talking about doing something here, like putting in a canoe, or even like something made out of a partial canoe that's like made out of, concrete or something, or that can be like climbed on, and tell that story there and talk about, they're primarily fishing in the rivers, but we've got water here, so we might be able to talk about the fish, how important that is to their people. And then they'll come around here, get to the Tensor Log, talk about history, and get back. So that's our goal. It's a lot of work. There's a lot of exhibits. You'd think $300,000 would go really far, but it's tending to be challenging. So we may do a little prioritization, but this is our format, and really trying to get decision-making to occur. We're helping along the way, because it's not our story to tell, but we want to help make it happen because of the grants until next June. So we're really on a timeline trying to make it happen. So we're doing our best. And loved working with the Nisqually people. They're great. Their Parks Commission is our leadership team that's supposed to be helping make decisions, but they weren't sure if with the new tribal council if that was going to change. But so we're kind of working through that now, but hopefully it'll continue to move forward. And this is on top of them dealing with the Nisqually State Park, which is up by Eatonville, and it's going to be giant. And they are working with so much interpretation, so much art, so much history. The Lushootseed language, which is their native language, how things can be interpreted, and names of trails. There's just a lot. So the Parks Commission is working with a lot of information. We have some similar people working on both projects, so that's helping with decision making. They don't want this just to be a cookie cutter of what's going there. They want this to be somewhat unique. So we're being careful with that too. I'm like 2 for 1, let's do 2 for 1, but they really want it to be special too. So I'm glad about that. One of the things that we identified at the park was when we do, we have our farmers market up here, we have Summerfest everywhere. When we're doing activities and this parking lot's being used, and as well as the playground parking lot, is that we don't really have any ADA parking for folks, right? So, that we did a couple years ago, we had ADA parking here, we had some ADA parking, and it's just really hard to get for folks. So we're talking about creating a ADA, designated ADA and overflow parking here, which when it's not being used specifically all for ADA parking can support the pavilion use. And so that's
a good idea.
Yeah, so that'll be a part, and that'll really help with the farmer's market and other activities, gets people much closer.
Are you gonna pave it, or are you talking paving is right?
Yeah, it'd be a paved parking lot. It has to be for really to meet the ADA specs.
Yeah.
We thought we were gonna be able to do it for about 100 stalls, but based on how much we have budgeted, it'll probably be more in the 50 stall range, which works perfectly for the
Still pretty
pavilion.
good.
Yeah, it'll be good. And that way it'll be really good for summer concerts. It'll be good for, when we do any kind of activity event, and also it'll be for some overflow, like, with the barn and other projects. So, that's kind of the location that will probably end up. We're still doing some assessment work, but that's probably where it'll land. Park signs, we got through that. The park sign, we just got cost estimates. And we had budgeted 30,000 for each sign. I don't think we're gonna have to spend that much, but that'll also include some landscaping and irrigation and stuff in front of the sign. So that'll help us do a little bit more. So we're getting the final specifications done so we can put that out to bid and get those in place. And then this is the electronic reader board that we talked about. Council has 2 locations that they're picking, and they're going to be bringing that, communications is going to be bringing that back to council in, oh gosh, I think in July, late June, July, and then they'll figure out where they want those to go and start with a couple pilot projects and go from there. American Lake, that's a big project that is out to bid right now. So that is exciting to see how that's going to come back. But just as a reminder with what we're doing, this is current. You know, we have this old bathroom and picnic shelter. So you have no visibility on the front when you come to the park, really what's happening back there, which is not necessarily a good thing. Bathroom is super old and really hard to maintain and gross. And so that is all going to come down. Our retaining walls have just deteriorated over the years. And you can see this is the shoreline. This is probably a fishing event from years past. But you can see it, you know, it's not ADA accessible. This is your stepway there. Or, you know, if you can get down here, we had a gentleman in a wheelchair at the event last weekend, 2 weekends ago, 2 weekends ago. You know, so getting down there isn't as hard as getting back out. So it really doesn't meet criteria. So that's sort of some of the problems that we're looking to fix. And how we're going to do that is we have sort of 4 zones. This is the entry area. So you can see the new bathroom will be over here. It'll be a CDX, or not a CDX. It'll be a bathroom like we have at Harry Todd. And it'll be 4 or 6 individual units and just individual, I mean, easy to maintain. The great thing about individual units, again, is that they're ADA accessible, so they're big enough for someone that has mobility issues. If Grandpa Al over here is taking all his kids, you know, he can actually go in and help his kids. He doesn't have to send half the kids to one side and half the kids to another. It's also great if during the winter months, you know, you don't have to have all 6 open, so it's good for that reason, as well as if somebody vandalizes or something happens, you don't have to shut the whole bathroom down. You can shut 1 or 2 units down and the other ones would still be functioning. So makes a lot of sense. Then we're going to also, so this is also our entry plaza. So it's a new entry plaza. You have great visibility, gathering space in case we want to do something up there. This will be a new ADA accessible We Go Round, it's called. Our goal is to put in a piece of playground equipment that's ADA accessible with some seating. We're doing some work on our current playground to make it. We had some ramps that really didn't have as much accessibility as it needed, and we're replacing the swings. So that's sort of our new entry. And then this will be the main focus is this ADA access. So we'll be putting our pathway around here. And then once you get here to the top, this is the top of the retaining wall, then we'll do that switch back, boom, 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 here, like we did at Harry Todd. And the reason we had like 12 different scenarios, and we only have to take out 1 tree. And it's an engineering nightmare with that wall. The wall has to be replaced with the uplands and the retaining wall. So, but only having to really take out 1 tree. So that's pretty significant because, you know, the tree canopy there is pretty amazing. But we do have to replace that existing retaining wall. It won't stand up.
It's not an oak.
It is an oak tree. It's the only one of all the trees. There's a lot of oak trees there. There's a lot of big firs, but I believe it was, no. We went back and forth and back and forth. I don't think it is an oak tree, but it was a significant size tree. But I don't think it is an oak tree. I'll double check on that.
There are a couple of monster firs there.
Yeah, I think it is a monster fir, and we did a lot of assessment to figure out if there's a way to keep it, but we can't. So, but thank you. I forgot to ask that. And then when we get down here, we'll be again creating, like, this is ADA access, so there'll be kind of a plaza here. We considered having like a kayak paddleboard rental, like a kiosk-y thing so people could come in and you could, you know, get a non-motorized craft there. But anyway, it's just an open space that could be used. We'll be enhancing the beach. The tree that does have to come out, we're going to be putting on the shoreline. So it'll be like, you know, place to sit, and it'll kind of enhance it. So we'll kind of keep it there. We're taking the swim dock that's over here that caused a lot of problems because everybody was jumping into the boat launch area and just flipping it on the other side and then keeping it so it'll provide support to the swim area. And then we'll also be we're moving all of these where's my little thing? Moving all these little parking spots over a bit so that when you're down here, either coming in from the lake or you've launched your boat, you can safely walk up here and not walk through the walkway, which everybody does. You can walk up along this retaining wall that'll be replaced to go to the bathroom or to come back into the park. So there's that. And then are there any questions about that? That's out to bid now. We won't, the goal is to start, we've already pre-purchased the bathroom, pre-purchased a bunch of these blocks that they're making the wall out of because they wouldn't have had enough time to make enough by the time. So we pre-ordered those. That saves us a lot of money actually by owner purchased. You know, you don't have to pay all the markup and everything that a contractor would do, and then they are in charge of it. So
We still on target for October,
yes.
as
we're-
close as possible.
Mhm, yeah,
That's it.
really, yeah, we'll try and do it as soon after Labor Day as possible if we have all of our ducks in a row. But the bid should be opening here in, I should have that in front of me. It'll be opening in first part of June, so next week.
Okay.
And then we'll have a better idea of when we get all the costs, what the timeline is, but yeah. We're still doing the final permitting for building permits and things like that, but we've done the important core and shoreline stuff, so. Wards Lake, you know where that is. It's on the east side of our community. It's really the only open space, say, west of the Mississippi. It's really east of the Bridgeport, bless you. As you remember, this is kind of a funky, this is the Lakewood, the plaza, the theaters there, used to be Levitt's back in the day, for those who've lived here a while. We did purchase this land, so we own this property now, so we're at about 37 acres. There's 3 major biomes in this area. It's kind of amazing. We have oak prairie, we have wetlands and old growth forest, and we've really worked hard to, support all of those different biomes, and just do the active recreation in areas that were already disturbed. So kind of what we'll be working on is that we've combined phase 1 and phase 2, because of the timing for some of the permitting for all of this stuff. Because it's so environmentally sensitive. We're gonna do phase 1 and phase 2 together, and so that's cool. Good efficient use of resources. And so these are things that are happening all throughout. We're redoing the entry. Public Works now has put in a light there. As you recall, there was like, you never even knew you were at Wards Lake unless you knew Wards Lake was there. It's between this apartment complex and there's mobile homes here, skinny little entry. So they put a light there now, pedestrian crossing there now, and there'll be a sign hanging from there that says Wards Lake Park
Oh, nice.
there. So yeah, so that's cool. And so we'll be adding some parking here. Right now, there's just a small parking area. We'll be adding some parking. Taking out, we've already demolished and gotten rid of the old restroom. It had just been damaged beyond control. There's a lot of nonsense happening here. And so that's gone. We'll be putting in a Portland Loo. We're excited about test driving that product. We just saw some in in Vancouver. Nikki went and saw some of them. We've seen them. They're kind of a fancy, big, heavy duty metal Santa can, but they're not really closable in such a way that you can go in there and you're gonna kind of know if someone's living in there or sleeping in there or passed out in there. So it'll be more open and not so.
And it's strictly a seasonal thing, right?
They're open year round.
Oh, you can.
Yeah, we have. I mean, all of our bathrooms, but most of them we keep open year round.
Okay.
Yeah. Because most are at the regional facilities. They're not we don't typically would do it in a neighborhood park, but because this had been part of this neighborhood park and it is going to be 37 acres, it's kind of a bigger site. So. But anyway, so that's there. We're going to be redoing the playground and cleaning that all up. It's going to have a very much nature play. I'll talk to you about that. We're doing the pathways. Show you next this is going to be a pump track. This is a dog park, and this is like it says BMX, but it's really a bike skills area. And so this is the area that used to have a church in it, old abandoned house and a church. So these are sort of active areas, but that'll be really nice. There's new parking and walkways along 84th to let people come there, drive there, and also get better access to get in there.
So the dog park place is in the fir zone. Are you gonna remove fir trees there?
Nope,
Or you
we're not moving anything. In fact,
try and,
I don't know what I did there. In
because it's
fact,
pretty dense.
yeah, I'm lying to you. This is actually right here,
Okay.
I believe. And there's trees and stuff, but it's not as dense.
Yeah.
So Yeah, so this area is not the dog park. I'm sorry, my circle is in the wrong spot. I don't know why it just disappeared again. That's really strange. But anyway, so that's, the dog park's up here because it's closer to the tank. So this is sort of a, kind of a undisturbed area. And it's still, I mean, we're gonna create a perimeter trail around it, but it's pretty dense, so it's a wildlife dog park.
Well, the dogs will keep the campers out though,
Yeah,
too.
and that's the whole point, is to really
Yeah.
activate these areas so that you don't have, either you have someone that walks there every day and says, oh, there's a tent going up, or it's like, oh, you don't have so much nonsense because there's people walking their dogs, there's people riding their bikes, they're coming in there and activating it. When you bring positive things into a site, you reduce some of the naughty stuff. There'll be a loop trail that'll be coming from this playground and plaza area, and it'll go around. We're putting a bridge across the lake. So that'll be a loop trail. So that's kind of fun. People like that. And then some of the other stuff that we're doing is just creating a real diversity of recreation. There'll be nature paths. There'll be, there'll all be nature play kind of stuff. Then there's the bike, and then still, of course, we have our wetland areas. And so just to go back, what else? So this is going to be a brand new neighborhood park. So, the folks that live back here, it's not easy access to get up here unless you walk through the park, which of course it'll be easier now because there'll be some cool trails that'll allow you to walk through here to get there. But that's still a pretty big journey for folks. And otherwise they'd have to go all the way down here, all the way to South Tacoma Way, all the way down South Tacoma Way to 84th, 84. No, that's 84th. This is, no, that's 88. This is 84th. And coming it's a journey. So anyway, we're going to create a neighborhood park where none has ever existed. There'll be a little playground. This will be sort of an access point also to the skill area, as well as you'll have an access point up here to the skill area. So that's kind of cool for that neighborhood. They'll have a place to come and
And
play.
is that gonna have an Portland Lou in
No.
too on, so.
It'll just be up in this area.
Yeah,
Because we had sewer connection and everything there already.
right.
So, and then again, that's that. So then Edgewater Park, we know, we just went through this big process. And so we did our, this is just some existing pictures of it in case you haven't been there. So you can see the barrier along the wall. So this is our master plan. These areas, of course, are more transportation related. So we're going to hope that Public Works will add this to their CIP. So at some point they'll be able to do this. And they are doing an improvement project that's not far from here. So hopefully we can connect those things. This is really primary transportation. Our boat launch area, moving the boat launch to here, and that should be moving forward. We're writing a grant for that. And then the main thing is this area here we're writing grants for right now. And again, the idea is separating the uses. We've got fishing, we have swimming, and we have our handheld carry. And then protecting these wetland areas, the path that goes from here to there. And that is primarily pushed up towards the road. So we have as much open space to use as possible for green space, for, little meadows and such. Added some designated parking, there'll be some benches, there's a little picnic shelter right here. So anyway, to make that, and we're doing grant presentations tomorrow, technical review. I don't know if you guys are doing any grant presentations this year.
We should, but.
Yeah, well, ALEA and ALEA and water access is tomorrow, technical review, and then the real business happens in August. But then again, water access, shoreline restoration and recreation is our main goal there. Primley Park and Oakbrook Parks. We started on this, I think, in 2022, met with all the neighbors, came up with master plans. So we just hired a gentleman about a month ago, I guess, maybe not even a month ago, maybe it's been a month. And he had a baby about a week later. So he's only here a few days a week. So we're catching up, but he's set a schedule for this. And so we'll get back to you at our next meeting regarding the timeline, and bring those back to the neighborhood where we'll come back and say, here's what we heard, here's what we're doing. Any thoughts about that? They're both really small areas. They're not huge projects, but we just have not been able to get back to it with American Lake and the ball fields and the Tensor Log and Ward's Lake. So now he'll put his hat on it. So it's exciting. Mainly this is, replacing the playground, the little playground there, it's about 15 years old. And then creating ADA access, because we don't really have ADA access to the playground right now. So we'll be doing that probably from this side, just because it's flat and you can park and then get there really easily. There's quite a bit of slope over here. But that's primarily that improvement. And then Oak Brook will be a little bit bigger. The idea is more like a perimeter trail, pickleball court. And then we talked about a little shelter, but I'm not sure that's going to fit in the budget, but we'll bring that back to the people. And, you know, they created it, so that should be fun. The Canyon Trail, you all know this was phase 1. We finished that. And then we created the bridge. That's the cool bridge that crosses and connects. And so here's the next phase. It just, we opened up bids last week. The bids came in good, except for the cost of this bridge. So the bid itself was, I think, about $3 million, and the bridge was $4 million, which I think they just didn't want to do it. And because there wasn't enough information, and the helicopters bringing it in was like a lot of question. And so the good thing is that we're going to do this, the rest of this trail to here and up to University Place. We're going to do the trailhead at Zircon and get down here, and then we'll save this for phase 3. And that gives us more time to really think about it. The good thing is that we'll have more information on how to, maybe we could do they were doing a suspension and all this stuff. It was quite intense, and there was no roads to get there. But once we do this trail, then maybe we can do additional work at Zircon that would allow them better access. And so it might just make the next phase better. But for now, we are going to be doing that. I think you all got an invitation. If you want to do they're going to do groundbreaking for the second phase. It's going to be on Friday at,
Noon, it's like 2 or noon.
it's 2 or
Yeah.
noon. That's what I was going to say.
Yeah. It's
But,
on my schedule.
Yeah, it's on your schedule. And so come on down, and I want you to, this is where you're going to meet. Park over there again where we did, park where we did before at the end of Phillips Road.
Yeah.
Walk on down. We'll cross the bridge, and they'll do the groundbreaking right there. And they'll have some displays and stuff, maybe some cookies. Pierce County's doing it, so we just get to show up and look pretty. Gateways, just to show you, we started this process a long time ago. This was our first gateway at Bridgeport. And the council wanted to, sorry, my fingers are. Council wanted to put gateways at all of the different entrances because people didn't know when you were in Steilacoom, when you were in Lakewood, when you're in University Place. So believe it or not, we put all of these gateways in. And the last 2 are here by Wards Lake Park, which actually is up there by Tacoma Mall Boulevard and the crossing at 84th by the freeway. And then this one is at the BNI. And so they are actually doing this whole South Tacoma Way reconstruction, and they figured out a spot to put a gateway. So
Perfect.
that gateway is going to be done. And then this gateway we will also do, but not right up at the freeway, bring it down by that retention pond that's a little bit lower. And that would be like, an entrance and also a reminder. We also talked about when council starts looking at the electronic machine, the electronic reader boards, is that instead of doing a gateway, we don't know what the cost is yet. Might they do one there? There's absolutely no, it's a great entry into the community. A lot of the people that are going to the international district are coming through that way. And, it might be a good place to have for emergencies and things. So we'll work with them. But other than that, then we'll just put a gateway there. And then guess what? Done. Check the box. Gateway's done.
Question.
Mhm.
So the look, are you trying to mimic the stone gates at base?
That's what this original design was.
That's what I
Yeah,
thought.
yeah, what-
Logistics.
the logistics center. And that
Okay.
was sort of the way. And then some of them, it's scalable, like the one by Nyanza was smaller, and the one over by H&L, some of them don't have these wings. They just have
Yeah.
planning in front. And then, of course, this one's been hit 532
Yeah.
times. So this one actually was rebuilt, and we did not include any of this stuff here. We put a bunch of rocks and stuff to try and make it
armor it. Yeah.
armor it a little bit. But yeah, that's where the
Yeah, yeah.
original design came from.
That's what it looked like.
There were about 15 people in the stakeholders group and we had everything from let's put a tank in the middle of it to, all kinds of stuff. So so there you go. We're almost done. Yeah, yes.
That's cool. That's great.
The H Barna project, of course, is moving forward. Partnership Parks had just got another $350,000, so they're over $2 million now in dedicated resources with more coming, more applications now that they've hit that halfway mark. There's a bunch of people, we just got a call from the Cheney Foundation. They're like, we'd like to come and talk to you about this. So people are getting excited about it. And so, moving forward and, so yeah, there you go with that. And, just so you can see, we're taking a look at, the old days to current days and the silos are just so important.
Seen that picture, the old picture.
Oh, you haven't? Yeah, it's my
There's fries
favorite.
on it.
Yeah,
Used in a
and
lot
you
of
can see, these were
presentations.
built in
Yeah.
1931 and you can still
Super
see
cool.
you can still see the writing
Yeah.
on the,
Yeah, it's
they
great.
kind of, spray painted up to about there. So that's nice. But yeah, it's fun. It was an active farm, that's what they used the silos for,
Yeah.
storing feed or corn or whatever they needed it for. That's corn, so. Filling her up. And then, of course, if you're not that familiar, you haven't been to a restoration, H barn presentation, the idea is to keep it looking like its current condition. I mean, nicer, but, to have it really still look like its traditional shape and size. And then just making it modern so that it meets building codes and is safe for people and, put in sprinklers and things like that. So Partnership Parks is planning to do a community, we've been doing a lot of behind the scenes stuff. They're going to be doing a community event on Saturday, September 27th, 28th.
It's really.
I'm looking at you, Mr. Lindsay. It's a Saturday and it'll be out by the barn. It'll be kind of just they're calling it a H barn, a hoedown, harvest hoedown and have music and, just an opportunity for people now to get out and really learn more about it. And, it's
Yeah,
gonna
it's 28.
28, yeah. The third, the sort of third
Excellent.
phase of their fundraising was, so that's cool. And then I have for you here a map of, all these different activities, events and activities we're working on it. A few things that I didn't talk about, there's some playground replacement. It's not really changing fundamentally the park, but we'll be looking at doing some playground improvements. There is, what else is on there? There's the things that we really haven't moved forward with is like cities talked to Camp Murray about doing a big master plan of Camp Murray, the boat launch down there, just because it's gravel, it's a primitive boat launch, they call it, to see how we might make improvements to that and then look down the road for, funding to support that water access. But, the folks in Tillicum are really limited with their ability to access the water from boating. So that would be making some improvements there. The street end pilot project, you're going to be talking about that at your July meeting. We're starting to prepare for that now. As you recall, we did the street end report with the idea that we would do a pilot project in 2025. So you have to do some work to kind of look at the prioritization, talk about council comments, because they did have some comments based on our presentation and prioritization. We'll bring that to you. You can say, love it, say this should be more important. Maybe we should consider these criteria, and then we'll come up with something and put it through the computer, the master thing, and then we'll come up with you making a recommendation to council. Then council can decide what they want to do, right? And there's some other things at play that might affect the decision making that we've had.
Bridge, perhaps.
So like the Interlochen Bridge, right? That area is closed, which, it's closed to pedestrians now too, but, that could be something that is, wouldn't it be a linear park? Maybe we don't ever open it. Maybe it just gets opened one way and part of it is now really going to be for pedestrian safety and fishing. And so there could be some other things. So we'll bring you as much information as we have when we get there so that you can make good decisions. So I think those are all the main things that are.
What's the water district property due diligence?
Water district property. So one of our council members, so the water district, did some bunch of work at a tank and so in front of it, it was a big property that, is in a neighborhood area. And so they aren't needing it or using it anymore. So they thought about, oh, do they want to give it to us? My thought would be, why don't you guys just pretty up your own land and keep it nice? And then it's a nice asset for the neighborhood, but a
And they
council
gotta
member,
mow it.
yeah, yeah. And then, well, they have property. I mean, they have to
Yeah,
take
oh,
care of
yeah.
their own stuff. So, but anyway, a council member had talked about, do we want to think about utilizing that as a pocket park or a neighborhood park? So the idea with due diligence is once they're ready to like release it, what was it used for? Did they store chemicals on it? What's in the ground? And then also, do the neighbors want something like that in their neighborhood, you know? And so it'll be probably by the time we get to that, because of all the other $32 million worth of projects that we have, it'll probably be right about the time next year, early next year, we'll start working on the legacy plan, right? The legacy plan update is due May 2026. So we really have to start working on it next year to be ready for that. And that is, you know, again, we had a big 20-year strategic plan. We had 6 years of ideas. We've pretty much done most of that stuff. And so what's the next 6 years going to look like? What's the next 20 years going to look like? It'll be a good time to talk about that. And, you know, and I think it's also a good time that we might want to do a Fort Silicon Park master plan review and update. You know, we need to have, you know, for cultural resources, for, you know, what's next. So when people come with big ideas like, if we have, yeah, we have a couple groups that want to play cricket, 2 different groups that want to do cricket. And one is more traditional cricket, English cricket, and another one is Samoan cricket. And they play a little bit differently, but their facilities might be the same. So it doesn't make sense to build different facilities. How do we do that? And where do you do that? And where's the right place to do it? Just because it fits doesn't mean it's the right location. And is this the right spot? Because right now they're out there they had been using the baseball fields, between the baseball fields. And then they were off limits for a while because of construction. And now that they're opening it, is that the right spot for it? Or shouldn't we support that culture and that type of use? It's maybe not as traditional as we've had. And where do we put it so that it's safe, you know, and so that's another thing. And there are other ideas, you know, exercise stations and pickleball. And we had some guy wanted to do 52 horseshoe pits to do tournament horseshoe pits. I mean, everybody's got a big idea.
Yeah.
So really, what's the best use for that space? There's a lot happening there, right? Maybe there's some other locations, or maybe there's the right spot there.
Put a finger on where this actually, is there a water tower?
Where?
In that water, that the
On
water,
27.
it's the,
Yes.
there's a water tower there currently.
Property.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Comes through.
It's off at more like the Nyanza side.
Yeah.
So I'm not
I'm
sure.
gonna drive by and take a look at that.
I can get the address for you if you're interested.
I'll find it from space if it's a water tower on it.
The water tower, yeah. So I think that's it for me. Just a big quick overview. I'm sorry, like I said, in your report that I'll email you when I get back, you can see in here also there are there's a list of the like playground projects that are ready to be replaced. That's in there. I'll send you this little summary list that kind of gives you the quick notes of it. And I has the legacy plan in there. Oh, downtown park. So that's a lot. The council's having a retreat tonight. In fact, it starts at 7 if anybody is interested. They are doing the follow-up to their council retreat. They had a council retreat in March, I think, and now they're coming back to do the follow-up. And, you know, they have a million ideas, and just like, you know, it's like you got an idea and you've got an idea and you've got an idea and you've got an idea, and they're all great ideas, but how do they fit within the big picture? Really, what do we have capacity to do? What do we have resources to do? Since for years we've been working on this downtown core, right? We've had that green walkway, we had the downtown district, and now they're talking about doing a downtown park. We have the Motor Avenue, Colonial Plaza. They're talking about purchasing the property, the old bagel shop, which is a little standalone sort of piece. And then what about UFC? How might we be able to turn this into, right? It's a really, if you look at the big city, it's a nice central location, right? To all the stuff that we're doing. So maybe that would be a great place for a downtown park. If that's not the best spot, maybe there's a place here at the town center. But it's like, how do we focus our energy onto a couple of really important things. So the downtown park's a big piece. Edgewater Park is a big project that they're talking about. Police safety is always a big important thing. And there's 4. Might be something with economic development. But those are 4 big projects that they're really focusing on for the next, so many years. And they put all their energy into it, it can happen. So that's what they're working on.
Well, it'd be great to see that QFC go and put a park there. It
Yeah.
would be
And maybe some kind of
solving
community
2
facility.
problems at
Yeah,
once, as
maybe some
far as
kind
I'm
of community
concerned.
use, we talked
Yeah.
about having some kind of multi-use facility that maybe even has mixed use on top, find a good partner. The
Yeah.
city's not gonna build probably housing, but there's partners out there that might be interested in creating this space that could really be cool for the community. And then that you would all in some fashion be involved with, what it, could be open space, could it be plazas, could it be a spray park, could it be, what do we need down there? And what might draw folks in, what's important to support services for it, so.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's it, lots going on, always something. Any questions or thoughts?
A little overwhelming.
Yeah, no kidding. Try living it. So that's my quick and dirty park CIP projects that we're working on now and into the future. If you have any questions, let me know. I'll get this sent out to you, and I think that's it.
All right, then next we have to talk about preparing for the joint council meeting, which Nikki and I were talking about is just a couple short weeks away.
Yes, I hope it's all on your calendars. And it's not this Monday, but the following Monday, June 10th. I don't have my calendar.
Yep, 10th.
Yeah.
Is there somebody who has a comment?
Oh, Mr. Brown, please.
Oh, yeah, because he's here. He'll be here. I thought maybe he would be here this week because of, he's going to council at 7, because it's Tuesday. Nikki, do you have those handouts?
Yep, they're attached to the.
Oh, to your agenda?
Minutes if you picked them up.
Accomplishments.
Is it not?
I
It's in
don't
the
have,
back. It's
is
in the
it?
back is the accomplishment.
I don't have
Maybe
that
it-
on mine. Oh, you know why? Today, it says May 28th, right? Yeah, I don't have that on mine. I only
Well, I
have
can go take another
the old
one.
minute. I took it from here.
Oh, I might not have enough.
Oh,
I printed
Anyway,
10 though. I
so,
don't know.
Jason, if you haven't, why don't you talk about,
Yep.
for those of you that are new as well, I'm not sure how, I always forget, time flies so fast. Once a year, we meet with council. Council meets with all their advisory boards once a year. We usually go at this time of year. And so we'll meet with them because they approved our work program. And did you have the work program there too?
Yep, it's on.
On the
here.
back?
Oh,
So
no, I
on-
didn't
What?
print the word.
No, 20 hits there on the bottom.
No. We actually have our, it's
Oh,
our
your
work
full-
plan
The one
that
that we
has,
submitted.
Gotcha.
at the beginning
yeah,
of the
so
year.
that they, which we moved things around a little bit, but we have a work plan that we did in, that they approved in January that said these are the things that you're gonna work on, because of course you're advisory to the council. And so they approved that. And so, but at your joint meeting, you just talk about what have we been working on for the last year? And then, here's what, we're planning to do. These are our accomplishments. Here's what the work program is for this year. And then it's a great time to have a conversation with council. So, so this is, first of all, take a look at here and say, did we miss out on any of the accomplishments, any of the things that you worked on? So we can give you credit for all of that. And then just to emphasize, this was our work program. And we have that scheduled. Nikki, why does it say 1, 2, 5, 6, 7, 8? What happened to 3 and 4?
I don't know. That's an interesting question. I don't know why it did that.
Can you pull up our work program?
So in the past, generally, I've gone through and talked about our accomplishments and then turned it over to Vito for the current work year, work plan. And then we've usually tried to come up, there's usually been an issue or a topic that's been of, importance to this board or this body. And so we try to generate a question list, to help facilitate that conversation with council.
Nikki, why don't you, I would say the one that's up first, though, you have up there, highlight, if you could zoom
This is
in.
our,
That was
this
on the
is our
back of the
plan that they
language,
approved
yeah.
at the beginning of the.
Right,
It's on
so
the
that's
very
got
back.
12 things on it. So I knew this looked funny.
So
So we need to have the
It was the third
12,
page.
all of those things on the work plan. So can you zoom into that just so that they can see that?
Yeah, no, there's another.
Yeah, we don't have, so this is the items that are on the work program, not by date, but by topic. It says 2024 work plan. Can you see that, everybody?
Sorry. Oh. Not on my other computer, so.
Yeah, this is okay. We'll work with this. We'll send it to you in advance so you can think about it. So we have the work plan is to the left. On the left side, it has 12 items that we're going to be working on this year. And so and then they're scheduled for various dates of implementation. So, so those are the things that we'll be talking about. We'll have a partnership project update. We did that earlier this year, but we'll give you hopefully by the end of this year, we'll have really something secure. So we can tell you what we're working on.
The numbers are wrong, right?
Right there.
Yeah,
1, 2, 5.
yeah, it's weird.
Oh, that is weird. So
Oh,
anyway, there's still a few things missing. So we're gonna do capital project. We did that. Special event updates. We did that already. Street end prioritization, that's gonna start in July. So those are things that you can share when we talk about usually somebody goes through our accomplishments and then we'll talk about the work plan. And that might actually be a great conversation to have with council because, as you know, or may not know, there are, the mayor had some big ideas during our meeting. And a couple council members have some big ideas of what they want to see as prioritization. So again, it is not up to us it's council makes a decision as a whole, you make a decision as a whole. But it might be a good time to hear from them and think,
Yeah.
what kinds of things are you thinking about with the street end as you guys will be approaching the next month, the prioritization? Is it, what are the main criteria? That we should be thinking about? And if you are interested in asking about the street ends, we could pull some information for you and send that out so you're ready for it. So that's one thing you could ask questions about.
Downtown park.
Yeah,
Downtown
yeah,
park,
I know that.
maybe ask
Yep.
them about
You
that.
know, What are their thoughts and what are our thoughts? Because, this is an opportunity to merge our canopy cover with a park development and open space and a gathering place where they can put some of the things we've worked on in the past years that we know we need
Yeah. Yeah, we need that connectivity
together.
with the downtown corridor. I brought up with Jason, Puyallup. Puyallup's a prime example of that park, the library, that
The
pavilion.
Civic
everything.
Center, so,
Yeah, and there's a bunch of good connectivity there and it's a commons. It's an area for people to gather.
Well, and I think that's the vision the city council has, because they just approved the tax increment financing
Yeah.
district in that whole area, which allows to collect taxes for the public improvement portion of the project.
Right.
And so, I think we just have to edge or put in our slant or perspective on what we want to see as a part of that.
Yeah, and you might ask them a question about that. What are they, because they're gonna be talking about a lot tonight too. It's like, what are you guys thinking? How do you see the park board's role in that process? If you put it all the people focusing on economic development, then they're gonna forget about some of the critical things that are important maybe to parks. So,
I'll probably need to put in my annual maintenance plug. Because if we're doing $32 million worth of new facilities, we've got to take care of them if we want them to
Yeah.
last. And the last I remember, we lost most of our seasonal staff, right? A good chunk of it.
we did, and we've been, Band-Aiding back to, with using different resources to get.
And
to keep
so
our
if
seasonal-
I say something about that, is that all right?
You might want to say.
I mean, I'll say it gingerly and
Yeah,
polite,
yeah,
but
we, made reductions in our seasonal staff to try and support some full-time staff. Really, it was like taking a 30 per hour per person to 40 hours.
yeah.
You need seasonal. We run
Yeah.
365 days a year, 7 days a week. So we really need to make sure that we're taken care of. I think that's good. Yeah, you do your thing.
Yep.
What's the update on the urban forestry? I know people are working on it, but
I know that they just hired a firm to do some inventory.
Mm.
So we'll have to, but I think that'll be a future presentation once they sort of get an action plan in gear. They kind of went in some circles about the RFQ and who they hired and who they're going to use. So, but I think they did just hire a company to do some inventory. It's so funny. They have different people doing different things that aren't necessarily connected with our department. So I don't always know what's happening unless I'm paying attention. So, but we'll have them come in. I do believe they're up
Yeah.
for, we have a climate change urban
I think it's
forestry
towards the end of the year. or something.
presentation. Yeah, which they'll have actually something maybe to present by then.
Another thing, we talk about urban forestry, but notice we've planted so many trees and they really are in dire need for maintenance and pruning at their early young stage instead of letting them go. And then we have more problems because the cuts are bigger and the trees aren't going to do as well.
Yeah.
And we can get rid of all those bloody shrubby things that they keep planting because they're useless. We could plant more trees if we focused on trees and the urban
And how to
forestry.
take care of them properly.
Yes.
I agree. And so that, you know, that could be something that you want to talk about too, is that we're excited about urban forestry, but we really need to invest in not just planting 1,000 trees, but taking care of 1,000 trees.
So I know Dave Buer was talking about an urban forestry program. Is someone,
Yeah, Tiffany
Oh,
Spear
okay,
is,
Tiffany.
has taken over
Okay.
that, and they did put some ARPA money towards that initially. And then they talked about some funding sources, but so she or her, people will come and give us a presentation when they actually have something to share, like an update on. So, but we'll do that. Yeah, but she's the one. Okay.
I went to a couple presentations on the housing, new requirements, right, for expanding. You can put an whatever it is.
ADU?
Yeah, ADU in, or they're gonna approve that. And you know, it's cool. I mean, we are growing, everybody's growing, the pressure's on. But then where are the parks to support those people and kids and playability? You know, partner with schools like we've talked about before, and where's that all go? I mean,
Not in the right way.
well, you know,
it's
it
getting higher
has to,
density.
yeah, it has to kind of go simultaneous. And then where do the trees fit in?
That was
You
my
know?
thing. How do you add all these
Right.
add all these accessory dwelling units?
Right.
And then, where are you gonna put them if you have trees on your property? You know, you're gonna
Right.
take out the property and, yeah,
Right.
it doesn't make a lot of sense. So there's all these requirements from different groups and they don't interconnect very well, right? You've got, you know,
Yeah.
so,
Yeah.
but those are great comments that, are you taking those all down, Nikki? We'll put a list together and send them out. Do you guys want to get together, before the meeting, just to kind of make sure we're all on the
Yeah.
same page?
Yeah, I always like it just to
Yeah.
get that last
Yeah,
minute kind of
half hour
debrief,
before
bounce
at
off
least,
the
yeah.
last couple
So we can meet
ideas.
At 6:30 on the
Yeah.
10th?
That'd be great.
here in
Here.
Bear Lake?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll check the room. If not here, there's one next door. We can find a spot.
Yeah, that's good.
And we'll put some, it's not, it'll be here before we know it, but we'll put, Nikki's so great at taking notes and we'll follow her notes and then we'll put some supplemental materials together that I said I would, that I have already forgotten that I was gonna do, but sure, she wrote it down for me. And then we'll fix that order and then we'll do that. That's nice.
Word will do that to you sometimes.
Oh, and we're gonna get a 2-for-1 because next, when we do that, Elizabeth and Debbie are gonna do a senior program
Oh,
update
great.
following our joint meeting with city council.
Cool.
So you could stick around and hear the presentation for the senior services. And then following that,
Spending the night.
Sally's gonna do an update on signal boxes.
Oh.
Signal box updates.
Oh, good.
So for
That's
the
great.
art,
Yeah,
if you're
yeah.
interested in that. So
Yeah,
I liked, 2-for-1, 3-for-1.
Yeah.
Let's put it on the same night, so.
Well, and senior services is one we could bring up too, because
yeah.
still without a home for that program.
And you might even ask, how does HMRN fit in with all of this if it's, from a priority perspective?
Can solve problems.
Yeah, and maybe, know that, but not that little, people think of that QFC, it's not that big,
No.
that's not a giant area. You're
Yeah,
not talking
But it's
Central
big
Park.
enough to do something substantial.
Correct, not getting wrong, but if it's like, it can't be everything because it's sit on the list. Oh, it'll have a playground, spray park and
That could be
and a
Performing Arts Center.
Performing Arts Center, intergenerational, and save all those oak trees. So you're like,
Whoa.
You might
He's a
want,
good planner, a good designer.
well, yeah, so it's like, you know, really what are the priorities? What's gonna work best there? You don't have to put all your, it's kind of like, so you don't have to put every egg in that basket.
Right.
It's perfect for
Yeah.
some things, but maybe there's some other places things can
Right.
go. And,
Right.
you know, like the idea of the H barn could easily support some of those, senior services, recreational use,
Well,
youth center.
You know, it's really good that the legacy plan is gonna get looked at next year and updated and all that, because there's a bunch of things that are coming together, and strategically, we really need to look at the whole city, and then what's our delivery? What are we, you know, is it one spray park? Is it more spray parks? And where are they gonna go? Those are, you know, and that's just one topic.
And I think that's good to mention.
The other thing is, you talk about senior centers and accessibility for them, but our transportation doesn't support that yet. You can't get on a bus. Granted, there are other ways of doing it, but we almost need to look at a demographic of where people are living and what kinds of economics they're in, and how are we gonna get them to these places?
Good point, transportation.
I mean, we put sidewalks in, which are great for people that can walk and ride bicycles, but senior citizens, that's not fair. There are people that don't have mobility.
With mobility issues,
Right.
whatever the age.
Yeah.
Right, right.
I
Agree.
correct myself sometimes.
We call them older adults.
Thank you.
I say seniors and they're like, they're not seniors, they're older adults. But I think those are all really great points that could get brought up in one way or another. So we'll look through this and get a little script going for you folks.
Even the QFC, if you can integrate, because there's a lot of housing around that there, people don't necessarily have cars, they have some kind of sub-farmers market as well. And I realize that that's dividing things up, but having different locations so people can get fresh fruits and vegetables in season or whatever.
How can that be
Yeah.
utilized for that?
Anything else on the joint meeting? No, we'll see you on 6:30 on the 10th. With that being said,
You sure it's 6:30?
we're meeting at 6:30
Oh,
and then
okay.
the
I
meeting
wrote down
starts
6,
at
that's what
7.
it was.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, 6:30 we'll
6:30.
meet in here and then
Okay.
7 we go into chambers.
Okay.
I'm assuming no director's report tonight. You're working on grants. Perfect.
a pretty
Yeah, exactly. And
Yeah, we are doing our grant presentation tomorrow, so
any reports from board members?
I have a comment
Sure.
about, I know this is a policy that needs to probably get, you know, looked at again, is Karen and I were at Fort Stilica Park, walking around the park. And I'll tell you, the kids just on motorized longboards, buzzing around, you know, and Karen yelled at him saying, you need to slow down. And rightfully so, because in front of us was several families with little kids, with dogs. And, you know, they could easily cream them out, you know, and anyway, just a comment.
It's kind of like the vaping, you know, it's gonna have to come to a
Yeah.
conclude. We're getting the issue in the wildlife area too. With e-bikes going
Oh,
through there at 25 miles an
Yeah.
hour. And a mom with a stroller and 2 toddlers, you know, on a narrow ADA trail.
Yeah, so it comes down to, there are rules
Yeah,
and it's enforcement.
yeah,
And if a sign isn't gonna do it,
no,
our code does say it's for mobility, you know, because there's certain e-bikes that there's A, B, and C or something like
Yes,
that. And
yeah,
A's
3
are okay, and
classes.
B's are
Yep.
okay, but C's aren't because they go faster, but yeah, what about the longboards? What about
yeah. There was a guy going with some fat wheels on a 2-wheel bike. And he was bringing his kids and he had the kids in front of him. And then he was leaving the park because we saw him out there by Safeway, picking up another kid, going back into the park. And he was on the sidewalks and then he was going to go on trails or wherever. And he was going pretty fast. But anyway, it was just,
Yeah,
how do you enforce it?
Well, and that's the thing, back in the day, the park maintenance workers would
Yeah,
enforce and
would- yeah.
inform and all
Right,
of that,
yeah,
and
yeah.
these days, it's
tough,
temperamental
yeah.
because people are a little more brazen and it's put
Yeah.
staff in
Jeopardy.
yeah, of safety issues, and
yeah,
that's not
and
fair to
they don't
them
have the
either.
enforcement ability.
No
so it doesn't
capability,
Make sense. I mean, they'll help inform, but
Mhm. Yeah.
They don't have enforcement ability and people don't really even
Well, and-
respect, they're not showing respect for that, so.
Yeah, you say something and a lot of times you'll get a
Yeah.
file remarks
Yeah,
back
right,
because you
right,
just
yeah.
informed them and
And it
it's,
could escalate.
it's
to something
sad.
more.
It's a
Yeah.
sad state. But I hear what you're saying, Vito. Yeah.
But I think it's something to bring up just from a safety perspective, you know, park safety is really important, risk management's important. What can we do or?
And we looked at the park rules sign there right next to the restroom building.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't say anything about motorized on pathways or
Pathways.
trails, but
Isn't that somewhat new? I mean, in the past couple of years, there's been more,
More e-bikes have been more
especially the
prominent,
e-bikes,
yes.
yeah, a lot of
Yeah.
e-bikes out there.
And
those
the code
two-wheeler,
change,
you
so
know.
we looked at the code a couple of, 2 years ago, I think it was. Because a previous council member had brought up, she was concerned with back in the trails, and so I think we talked about it on the paved surfaces, but not on the dirt surfaces, and really it's supposed to be for, whatever the state law allows.
Mhm.
State law allows that, because it's considered mobility.
Yeah.
Well, and it's a case to be made for dedicated park police staff that
Yeah.
control that. I mean, that's a whole nother ball of wax,
Yeah,
but
or park rangers.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Park rangers.
Rangers work pretty good.
Yep, but it's kind of that
Yeah,
crossover
yeah.
where you have commissions and you can do something, but yet a little more tied to the Parks Department.
And a lot of it's education, but
Yeah.
still,
And awareness, I mean, be kind to the universe and be kind to the people around you. It's
Right.
like, you know, it's
Respect.
safety issues,
Yeah.
respect, you know,
Yeah.
it's like people on the road.
You're right,
Looking at them like,
right.
where are you going?
All right, with all that, any other reports? I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Move, we adjourn.
Alan,
Yeah. Second.
Vito, all in favor?
Hey.
Aye. Thank you all. We'll
Yeah.
see you on the 10th.
Okay.
Council is having a retreat, Sunday, so they start at 7 if anyone's interested in, listening and hearing what they have to say, or you can,